What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the shelf. Welcome back to the Dispatch, episode number 16. First and foremost, sorry for anybody out there who might have been waiting for the show. We went live a little later than I had set it for. Ran a little late at work and had to take a shower and eat dinner and all that fun stuff. So, um, we got a lighter news week. Not a ton of stuff to talk about today. So we'll just get right into it. So the marketing campaign for Barbarian, or not Barbarian, excuse me, for weapons has been really, really interesting. I'm really enjoying the stuff they're doing. I think I can play some of this without getting copyright. I'm not sure what this falls under, but basically, Warner Brothers released an unlisted, like 2 hours and 17 minutes of just surveillance footage of all the kids from weapons like running away, and you can like see someone's reflection right here in the reflection there. Sorry. um but yeah, it's just very weird, it's very cryptic, it's very interesting. It's got me so interested in this movie. You really don't see this kind of thing very often, which makes me think that this is going to be something special. And Zach Cregger's Barbarian was very good. And I mean, I just can't think of the last time someone like a big studio like Warner Brothers, like did something like this, right? So it's very exciting. And then we did get an actual trailer for the movie, which I have not watched. I don't think I'm going to. I just don't want to know anything. Like, I'm already sat basically. And I'm kind of scared to watch the trailer just because I don't want to know. I just don't want to know anything. But if you want to watch the trailer, it's out. You've probably seen it already. We also got a trailer for Fear Street Prom Queen. This comes out May 23rd. I didn't watch this either, but I will probably watch this movie. I thought that the Fear Street movies were pretty fun back in 2022. I think that's when they came out. And I thought it was a cool way to release them. Like, they released one after another, like a week back to back. So that was pretty cool. And Fear Street seems like it's pretty ripe for just more content. There's a whole bunch of those books. And I think I also like Fear Street just as a concept because it's more mature than something like Goosebumps, I think. So you definitely could like attract a more mature audience. Like, young adults probably would go for this sort of thing, and it could be like their gateway to horror. Like, this could be someone's introduction to horror movies. So that was cool. And then, so this is kind of new movie news adjacent, basically, but a couple weeks ago we talked about Oscar voters and how they suck. And yeah, so some Oscar voters have said that they just press play on their screeners app to satisfy the viewing requirements and then mute the audio or switch tabs. The app only needs to see that you watched it. It doesn't know if you're sitting there. First of all, I don't know why anyone would ever admit to this. Like, who are these some Oscar voters? Sounds awful. You suck. Yeah, this top comment kind of solidifies it. Like, I would be so that like this is such a privilege, and then of course you have people there who just don't care, which is unfortunate. But hopefully this means that they're going to start implementing things like to make it so that you can't do this anymore. Some more horror news. We got a poster for this movie Together, which is super zoomed in for you guys right now. I mean, this is so gross. New body horror film starring Alison Brie and Dave Franco. I'm super excited for this movie. Seems like body horror is having a bit of a renaissance. Obviously, The Substance being the big one from last year. And this is really only the second example I can think of in the mainstream. Oh, there was that Shudder movie. I think it was called Grafted. So that had a bit of a a moment. I think I didn't see that one, but I heard it was okay. And now this. So this looks really. I mean, I saw this trailer in the theater a while back, a couple months ago probably, and it was a good trailer actually because it doesn't really tell you what the movie's about. It's just kind of like quick cuts of various shots of like weird things and without any context tying it together. So I'm definitely not going to watch any further trailers. I don't know who this guy Michael Shanks is. I'm going to have to look him up. But yeah, this is high on my list of anticipated movies for this year. So we've been reporting on this Sergeant Rock movie for a while now. It feels like Luca Guadagnino joining the DC universe with this guy Sergeant Rock, who is a character who I am not familiar with, and I feel like most people are not familiar with him. And now apparently it was canceled, and now apparently it's looking to also be like now that it's uncanceled. It's all very confusing, but Colin Farrell and Mike Faist were both cast, and the film would have followed Sergeant Rock trying to find the Spear of Destiny, the spear used to stab Jesus during his crucifixion before the Nazis found it. So is Sergeant Rock like an Indiana Jones-esque character? Here in the top comment, by the way. It's not officially canceled. It will be reassessed at the end of the year for a possible summer shoot. So that means it might be canceled, but we don't really know yet, is basically how I'm choosing to interpret that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. This whole thing's kind of odd to me. I like the direction or the idea of the new DC universe really harnessing actual filmmakers to make their movies. I like that as a concept, but then I don't know if I like like I'd have to see the movie, and I don't know shit about Sergeant Rock like as a character. So I'm sure Luca Guadagnino could make it interesting, but I don't know. It's just strange to me. This whole thing, it almost feels like they aren't even sure if they want to make the movie or not. And things are just odd about the whole DC universe in general right now. I did have another article bookmarked that I didn't actually keep, but Clayface is going to start shooting soon, I think. So that's good news, at least that's moving forward. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Sergeant Rock. And here's the follow-up article. Now reported to being reassessed. Yeah. So yeah, just a lot of confusion with this. I don't really understand it. But yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll continue to report on this. So as updates go, the saga of Sergeant Rock. Okay, so this fella Adam Pearson, who was in A Different Man from last year with Sebastian Stan, and he was also in Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. Apparently, they're doing a new feature film adaptation of The Elephant Man, and he is set to play the lead role of John Merrick or Joseph Merrick. I love The Elephant Man. I just watched it for the first time after David Lynch died. Yeah, I mean, how much do you know about Sergeant Rock as a character, Old Restless? Like, I've never even heard of him. I don't understand. I don't really know what the direction, without any kind of frame of reference, I don't really know what that movie could look like. It's only the Luca Guadagnino of it all that makes me interested. But anyway, new Elephant Man, and they're casting this guy who, if he doesn't have the exact illness, he has a variation of it. I'm not exactly sure. But obviously, good casting. Adam Pearson's a good actor. Everything I've seen him in. Yeah, I don't know. It looks cool. I think it's cool that they're casting an actual actor with that disease rather than using prosthetics, and just giving him an opportunity to really be the lead of a project. I guess so, yeah. I mean, it'll come from a more authentic place as well, so I'm sure the performance will be really good. Um, yeah, we really don't have a ton of news this week, guys. It was a really slow week, so this episode's probably going to be 20 minutes or so. Just heads up. But we got Matthew Lillard has been cast in Mike Flanagan's Carrie series, which I believe he's only producing. But Matthew Lillard is having a real renaissance lately. It feels like to me. He was in Five Nights at Freddy's, which is like whatever, but he's also going to be in Mike Flanagan's Life of Chuck. He's going to be in this. He's going to be in Scream 7. I think he's probably in the Five Nights at Freddy's sequel. So the man is working. The man is working, and I do like Matthew Lillard. I think he's a cool dude. I think he's a pretty talented actor, and I'm really interested to see what he can do in something like The Life of Chuck. I'm really excited to see him in that. And I don't know what role he would play in the Carrie series. Like, I don't know, maybe the principal of the school? I don't know. Who in the Carrie story could he be playing? I'm not even actually sure. So Ryan Johnson says he wants the next Knives Out movie to be in as many theaters for as long as possible. Cheers to that. We're going to push for everything we can get in terms of theatrical because I want as many people as possible to see it in that form. Yeah, I mean, I've given my thoughts on this in the past where it seems like a bad choice to sign with Netflix when they're like famously one of the holdouts as far as not wanting things to play in theaters. Like they'll do it with their really big prestige movies, like The Irishman and Roma and like stuff like that. But they'll play it in like one theater in New York for a week so that it's eligible for Oscar recognition, and then it's out, and then that's it. Because the Netflix model is they want you to be the only place for you to see their programming is on Netflix. So that's same thing with physical media. Like that's why they don't really do their physical media unless it's with Criterion Collection. But not all of their stuff would fit Criterion Collection. So that stuff just kind of gets, cast to the wayside. But yeah, it's unfortunate that Ryan Johnson would go to Netflix and then make like it just I don't know. It seems like having a picnic at the beach and getting mad when seagulls show up. Like you kind of brought it on yourself. Like I'm sure he could have probably shopped it around the Knives Out franchise. Because especially with the first one being theatrical and then the second one going straight to Netflix, like that's gotta suck, right? As a creative, like the first one goes to theaters and the next one is like relegated to the streamer. And people were talking about Glass Onion because I did think Glass Onion was really good, but I don't know. It just feels like I can't really explain it, but it feels like the conversation around something like a piece of media in the zeitgeist when the only place it's available is on a streamer. There's this intangibleness to it where it's very fleeting. Like you watch it once and then it kind of just goes away because if it's not in front of you, you're not thinking about it. And if you can't experience it in a crowded theater with a lot of other people, like this way that Sinners is doing right now, the conversation is just so much less so. Like it's relegated to like Twitter threads. Like people are only talking about it online and not like in real life. I don't know. That might be a conflation, but I don't know. It's unfortunate, and I don't, and I hope that guys like Ryan Johnson and Greta Gerwig. I believe Greta Gerwig is doing Narnia with Netflix. Let me just double check that. Yeah. Yeah, so she's doing it with Netflix, but I'm pretty sure she's already established that that her Narnia movies will get some kind of theatrical distribution. So my hope is that by hopefully Ryan Johnson and Greta Gerwig can like get the door kicked open and like establish a precedent for like the bigger Netflix movies, put them on um put them on in theaters, you know. Debut it in theaters ahead of time and then have them come to Netflix after the fact, right? So that if you want to see it when it comes out, you have to go to the theater. And those people who really want to see it will go to the theater. And then that'll give you an idea of how highly anticipated a thing is when you can have actual numbers to look at to that point to, oh, this many people wanted to see this, and then have it come to Netflix like a month later. So you can get your month box office and then that'll allow word of mouth to generate and get people excited about a thing. And then the people who can't go to the theater will still be able to see it on Netflix. And the people who saw it in the theater will get to rewatch it on Netflix. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. It's unfortunate, but I think they also leave a lot of money on the table, though. Like, I feel like they leave a lot of money on the table by not having to, like, you could have both. Like, movies are in theaters forever. So have it be in its theater, let it live its life cycle, and then it can live the rest of its life on Netflix the way that movies normally do, except you give it the opportunity to have box office distribution. What's up, man? How you doing? Definitely got to get you on our next round of Poorly Explained Movies. Had a blast with round one. I'm going to have to check that out. I have to go to your channel and watch that. I missed that. I'm assuming that's the show that you were talking to me about. If so, definitely would love to do that. Poorly Explained Movies. That sounds like fun. That seems like it could be a riot. Also couldn't agree more with you on the fleeting feeling of streaming versus in theater. There aren't many streaming films that feel like they'll be talked about 50 years from now. Yeah, and it's like it's this weird thing like that we're living in right now where we don't have enough research really to like really cement this, but the fact that movies from the 90s and the 2000s had so much tangibility to them, like they have physical media releases, they have merchandise, they live in the zeitgeist for a period of time, where now it feels like movies are just a revolving door and nothing ever stays. Nothing has any longevity. And like they're meant to, it's like the news cycle, it's like the 24-hour news cycle where like people will talk about a thing for a day and then another thing will happen that you talk about, and it's like, well, what about that other thing that we were just talking about? And it's like, no, now we're talking about this. Like it's very much that way with movies now. And you obviously movies aren't only on streaming, which is good. Obviously movie theaters are still a thing and physical media is still a thing, and those are the two pillars, I think, of cinema in a way. And like as far as establishing a longevity to them, like if movies didn't go to theaters anymore and if movies didn't have physical media releases anymore, what even are movies? Like obviously you can still watch them at home, but like I don't know, man. I think there's a lot to be said about just being able to watch something and have it in your hand and experience it with people, people that you don't know. Like, I love when I see a new movie in theaters and I walk out and I'm like, man, I can't wait to buy that Blu-ray when it comes out. Because I might only say that about 10 movies a year. But those 10 movies that I see a year where I'm like, I need to own this because I want to watch this again. I don't know, man. That's just something special. It's a special thing. But I think that's all we have on that. Feel free to chime in anymore, though, if you guys have more things you want to add to that conversation, because it's an interesting conversation. But so apparently Ryan Reynolds is writing a Deadpool / X-Men team-up movie. The film would include 3 or 4 X-Men members, with Deadpool as a supporting character. He has not yet pitched an idea to the studio. So I don't really know how I feel about this. I'm skeptical because we still haven't even gotten our solo X-Men movie. So like the fact that they're already looking at throwing in Deadpool is odd to me. And comic book fans will probably be more knowledgeable about this than I am. So my question when I see this would just be how much of a precedent is there already for Deadpool involved with all of these guys right here, right? Like, how often does that happen? And what is Deadpool's role in that capacity? Like, I understand that things are going to be different in the film medium because not only is this Deadpool, right, but it's also Ryan Reynolds, and that's not a thing in the comics. Like, Deadpool is just Deadpool, right? So the Ryan Reynolds of it all is going to complicate things, I think, in a way that's like he's going to get prioritized because he's Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool and Wolverine made $1 billion. So it gives me pause because I would like to see all of these guys get their time to shine and fully flesh all these guys out before we start talking about shoving in the goofy ass Deadpool. That's the other thing. And they kind of do X-Force in Deadpool 2, right? But it's played as a joke, which is my other concern. I don't want to see these guys all relegated to just a joke, right? And vice versa. Obviously Deadpool as a concept is just kind of a joke. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. Yeah, $1 billion is definitely the reason. But it sucks when things like because obviously money talks in Hollywood, right? So now it's X-Men movie definitely is coming. They're clearly building towards that. But now I feel like it has this Deadpool asterisk next to it where it's we have to include Deadpool in this because he made us $1 billion. And right now we don't know what the X-Men is going to make us. So and as a concept, it could be very cool, and that's the thing, right? Definitely make him a supporting character. Obviously, right? If it's not a Deadpool movie, where he's billed as the lead, I don't want him to be a main character. Have him in this background, give him a couple jokes, have him be the levity of the film, but let it be propped up by the X-Men and not the other way around. So we'll see what happens with that. We got some Sinners talk, and Eddie coming in. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I often struggle with writing reviews for new movies that I really like because I really like to make sure, if I'm going to say something about it, sometimes I want to just make sure it's as concise as possible. So I usually sit on it for a couple days. But in the case of Sinners, I don't know. I could write an essay, but so I decided to just put, this shit rips, go see it. Because really that's all I needed to say, I think. And people are following suit. They are seeing it. Because Sinners is tracking to earn around $35 million in the film's third domestic weekend, a small 22% drop. 22% drop from your third weekend is crazy. I don't think people really realize just how good that actually is. I really don't think people understand how good that is. The film is quickly rising to become one of the top 10 highest grossing R-rated movies ever domestically. I mean, yeah, it's just incredible to see. And that's the thing, right? Like, obviously, this is just Twitter, but this is making people curious when they see things like this. So that word of mouth is definitely there. You see it online, but you're also seeing it in person. Like, at my job, I'm one of the, I'm like the movie guy, right? Like, people know that I like movies. I don't really walk around talking about it, but they know that if a new movie's out, I will have likely seen it. So they'll come to me. And I've had like no less than 3 or 4 people at my job ask me about Sinners, which might not sound like a lot, but in the context of my job where otherwise people are not talking really about movies like this, especially a vampire blues fucking historical epic, like it's very rare that a movie like this is getting the shine that it's getting, and it absolutely deserves all of it. It really is so good. And not to mention the fact that there are, I would love to see the breakdown of the numbers of the people who have seen Sinners, how many have gone back a second, a third, a fourth time, because that's the other thing. Like, when movies do this well, usually it's because people like it so much that they're going back and seeing it over and over again, which you don't get with a lot of movies. So that's something to be said in and of itself right there. And then what's my last note here? Oh yeah. So this is just an update, sort of, as far as Kevin Feige goes. Kevin Feige was spread so thin at Marvel in the early 2020s that creatives wouldn't hear from him and spend weeks on work only to get feedback that was too late to implement. Some staffers had to resort to chasing Feige down in the hallway for answers. So, as movie fans, as like Marvel fans, a lot of us, we only see things from the outside, right? We see the products and we infer a lot of stuff about what's going on behind the scenes based on the products. And this paragraph right here is like basically confirming every suspicion that Marvel fans have had. And it actually, in a sort of almost comical sense, because yeah, I can absolutely imagine Feige being chased down by all these different creatives, trying to arrange the puzzle pieces. Like, hey, can we include this character, or is he going to be in this movie? And it's like all these moving things that we take for granted, because they're planning for years down or at least they're trying to plan for years down the road. And it's just funny to me. But I think it's a good thing as well that we're kind of seeing Wall Street Journal. I haven't actually looked at this article. Yeah, Wall Street Journal. I'm not paying you to read that. Yeah, Twitter comments not a great source of of insight. Yeah, it's just the beast got too big and Feige couldn't feed it on his own, and they're working on 3 TV shows and 4 movies a year, and yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm just basically not surprised at all reading this. This is the least surprising headline I've read in quite some time. So yeah, that's pretty much all we got today, guys. Like I said, slower news week. There's other stuff that I can talk about. Like, I could make these shows longer, but it would mostly consist of me fluffing it up kind of for your benefit, but it would be me talking about things that I'm not very opinionated on. And I feel like that's, you don't want to hear me talk about something that I don't care about, right? Like, I would assume because otherwise I would just kind of be reading a headline and not adding anything of any depth, right? So hopefully that was sufficient for you guys. As far as what's coming next on the channel, Those Last of Us reviews are continuing to drop on Mondays or the occasional Tuesday, depending. But look forward to those. I'm actually going to go watch the new episode after I get off of here with you guys. And then, yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that Halloween 2 video as well. It's taken longer for me to get done than I anticipated, but it is coming, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And yeah, with all that being said, please take care and watch more movies.